I'm literally trembling right now. I keep looking over there because I'm terrified. I am not cut out for this. I am not built to live in the South. I need to go back to the frozen wasteland where I belong. So, a couple of weeks ago, I made a fatal mistake, which I am fiercely regretting now. I bought a giant bag of dog food because it's a better deal when you buy a bigger bag. I have a big 5-gallon bucket with a screw-on lid that I keep the dog food in, but this bag was so big that some of it didn't fit in the pail. I rolled it up really tight and stuck it in my closet, thinking that I would use what was in the bucket until there was enough space to pour the leftovers into the bucket. I've done this 1,000 times before back when I lived up north, never had a problem, nothing bad ever happened. Fast forward to today. I'm packing up because I'm getting ready to move back to the north where I'm from, and as I'm packing, I come across this bag of dog food, partial bag of dog food in my closet, and I think, oh, I bet I have room in the bucket now to pour this into the bucket. So I pick up the dog food, I open the bucket, and I start pouring, and 2 roaches come running out of the bag and scurry away. I drop the bag, the hole is facing upright, so the food is in the bottom, the hole is at the top end. I call the dogs. I have 2 dogs who live in my house. I call them over, thinking they will, eat the roaches or something, catch them, eat them. I've seen my roommate's dog eat roaches in the past, so I know that he's not above doing this. I can see where both of the roaches went, but I don't want to get any closer to them, so I call both the dogs over. I'm pointing at the roaches. I'm telling them to get it, kill it, eat it, and they just ignore them. They don't even seem to recognize that the roaches are there. They completely just ignore them. I'm freaking out. And then one of the roaches moves. And it doesn't just move, it starts running towards me. I screamed the loudest, most high-pitched squeal I have ever heard come out of my own vocal cords. I did not know I was capable of making that sound. My hope, my only desperate hope, was that the dogs would see and attack the thing now that it was moving, because I know that animals tend to focus in on motion. That was a vain hope. Why? Because my broken violin screech was enough to make both of the dogs run away from me in terror. The roach runs past me and crawls into a little crack underneath the door, like the door frame of my room. So now I'm alone in the room with 2 roaches. The dogs have abandoned me. One of the roaches is under the door frame that I would have to pass through to exit the room. The other roach is hiding under the lip of the dog food bucket, which I closed, by the way. I put the lid back on the bucket to keep the roaches from getting back in with the food. But I can't watch them both at the same time. They are on opposite sides of the room. So if I'm going to keep an eye on one, I have to turn my back on the other one. Meanwhile, I peek down through the little hole into the bag of dog food, which still has some dog food in the bottom, and I see at least one more roach scurrying around in there. So now not only do I have 2 roaches loose in my room, I have who knows how many more still inside the bag. So I decide that my highest priority is getting the roaches that are in the bag out of my house before I end up with even more loose roaches running around. So I grab the bag, scrunch up the hole so that I'm holding it real tight and nothing can get out, and I carry it out of my house and across the apartment complex to the trash compactor, throw it in the trash compactor, and run. But now I have to go back to my apartment where at least 2 roaches are loose, and I have not been there to watch them, so they may or may not still be in the places where I last saw them. I check the crack that the one ran into, can't see the roach in there anymore, but I notice that my dog is sniffing underneath a bag that was sitting out in the middle of my room from when I was packing, acting as if there was something really interesting underneath it. So I pick up the bag, and out scurries one of the roaches, and I scream again, and my dog runs away. The roach scurries over to a corner of my rug, my bedroom rug, that's on my entire floor of my bedroom, and there's a bunch of stuff just piled up on the rug because I'm packing and I have stuff everywhere, and it disappears behind the pile of stuff, and I don't know if it went under the pile or if it went under the rug. Either way, I don't know what to do. They're so fast. Even if I can find it, it's just going to scurry away somewhere else again before I can do anything about it. The dogs are no help. I've given up that plan, so I try to come up with a plan B. It occurs to me that I might be able to catch one with the vacuum cleaner. I have a little hose on my vacuum cleaner. Maybe I could suck them up into the vacuum cleaner and catch them that way. So I get the vacuum cleaner and I plug it in. I'm holding the hose, I turn it on, and I very carefully, one item at a time, start moving the pile of stuff, looking for that roach. Picking up one item at a time, looking to see if anything runs out. Nothing. The only two options left are 1, the roach ran away somewhere while I left to go get the vacuum cleaner, or 2, it's underneath the rug. So I flip the rug up. No roach. So that one's in the wind. I decide to see if the other roach is still on the food bucket. I don't see it on the food bucket, but it was under the lip where I couldn't see it before, so it might still be there and I just can't see it. So I very carefully pick up the bucket by its handle, hoping that that would scare the roach enough for it to move. I pick it up, don't see any roach. I put it down, I let go, and boom, roach, running. I try to get it with a vacuum cleaner. I'm not fast enough. It runs under another pile of stuff, which I carefully disassemble one piece at a time. I find it, it runs again. I try to catch it with a vacuum cleaner. It's too fast, and every time it runs away from me, it's running closer and closer to the giant stack of boxes that I have sitting on one side of my room that have already been packed and taped shut. And I know that if it goes behind that pile of boxes, there's no way I'm going to find it. It gets so that it's clinging to the outside of one of the boxes, side that's still facing me. But if it runs in either direction, it will be able to get into the crack between two of the boxes and be gone forever. I dart out with my vacuum cleaner hose, it runs, I try to catch it, and just as it's about to reach that crack, it disappears. And I couldn't tell if it disappeared into the crack or into the vacuum hose. But I think it disappeared into the vacuum hose. But now I have a dilemma, because I'm afraid that if I turn the vacuum off, it's going to come scurry and creepy crawling its way back out again. So I stand there for a little while, terrified, with the vacuum running, and then I very carefully take the vacuum cleaner, still running, extend the cord as far as it will reach to make it to the front door, and I bring the vacuum cleaner, still running, outside of my apartment and close the door. Then I turn the vacuum cleaner off. It's a bagless vacuum cleaner, so it just has a little compartment that catches all the stuff. So I open the compartment, and I dump all of the dust and stuff into the grass away from me, fling it away from me. No roach. And I look inside the container. There's nothing in there. I stretch out all the hoses in case it's like clinging on inside somewhere. Nothing. It's not in there, which means it disappeared into the crack. And that brings us to the present moment where I am huddled in a corner of my room, filming this video in terror for my life. I don't feel safe in my own house. They're here. Beware.